Long after students leave the classroom, another lesson begins. Not for the students, but for the teacher. It's a lesson in planning, organizing, and preparing tomorrow's learning experience.
Picture this. It's 10 p.m. The house is completely quiet. Tomorrow's lesson is already mapped out in the teacher's head, but on the screen sits a completely blank PowerPoint slide. And that one slide needs to become two, and then those two need to become 10. That blank screen, it represents a massive, exhausting mental workload. It's not just about picking fonts or backgrounds. It's about making 1,000 tiny micro-decisions after an already exhausting day.
Which brings us to a really important question, one we really need to stop and think about. How much of a teacher's time is actually spent teaching, and how much is spent just preparing to teach? Deciding exactly what goes on slide 1, what example fits perfectly on slide 2, and how to logically structure slide 3. It takes an incredible amount of cognitive energy. You see, most people only ever witness the classroom delivery. They see the performance. What they don't see is the invisible workload that makes it all happen. Lesson planning, creating the slides, writing out the activities, drafting assessments, hunting down the perfect visuals. These are the hidden, late-night tasks that consume a teacher's evening. It fundamentally shifts their focus away from connecting with students, and unfortunately turns them into late-night content generators. This is exactly where technology steps in. And no, not in the way some people might fear. We're talking about AI assistants like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot acting not as a magic replacement for an educator, but as a direct antidote to decision fatigue. Think of it as a highly capable teaching assistant whose sole job is to just build the initial first draft. It removes that repetitive, time-consuming friction of staring at a blank screen and starting from zero.
But we have to be absolutely clear about one crucial limitation. AI might generate inaccurate information or use language that's way too complex for a specific age group. Why? Because ChatGPT does not know your students. ChatGPT does not know the dynamic of your specific third period class. It cannot replace a teacher's judgment. The teacher always remains the expert who reviews, personalizes, and perfects the content. AI is just handing you the clay. You are the one who actually sculpts it.
So, what's the biggest mistake people make when they first try this? It's asking a generic question like, make me a PowerPoint. If you do that, you're going to get incredibly generic, unhelpful results. The real secret is what we call a power prompt. By telling the AI, act as an experienced grade 6 science teacher, create a 10-slide lesson about moon phases, you suddenly yield highly structured, incredibly targeted results.
Let's walk through how this construction actually works in practice. Instead of opening your presentation software first, you start with your AI assistant. Step 1, you set that rich context we just talked about. Step 2, you specifically request a slide-by-slide outline. And step 3, you ask it to generate structured placeholders, things like title, objectives, content, and assessment. In a matter of seconds, you've completely conquered the blank slide problem.
Once you've got that structure in place, expanding the outline is an absolute breeze. Let's say you need to explain what causes moon phases on slide 4. You just ask the AI to flesh it out. It populates the slide with age-appropriate explanations, key concepts, student-friendly language, and real-life examples. You go from a terrifying blank page to editing a really solid first draft in moments. That heavy burden of generating every single word from scratch, it just vanishes. But it gets better. It's not just about spitting out bullet points of facts. The AI can rapidly generate really engaging, higher-order discussion questions. Let's be honest, formulating brilliant, thought-provoking questions at 11 p.m. takes a massive amount of mental energy, but by asking the AI to use frameworks like Bloom's taxonomy, you instantly get things like, how would life be different if the moon always appeared full? Then you just pick the absolute best ones, and you're ready to go. And then, of course, you've got the activities. Coming up with a fresh, hands-on task late at night is exhausting, but with a quick prompt, you can generate a whole menu of diverse classroom activities. Need a group activity? A hands-on demonstration? A reflection task? Done. The teacher gets to do the fun part, selecting the best option rather than inventing it all entirely from scratch. And let's not forget about the endless scrolling for the perfect image. We all know what a major time sink that is. By actually asking the AI for visual suggestions, it helps you conceptually picture the presentation first. It might suggest looking for a specific Earth, Moon, Sun illustration or an observation chart. Knowing exactly what you need speeds up your search immensely when you finally go looking for those visual assets. Now, this right here is arguably one of the most incredible features of all: differentiation. You can take that exact same lesson you just built and simply type, "Rewrite this lesson for struggling learners" to simplify the language. Or you can type, Enrich this lesson for advanced students to add more depth. You instantly adapt the exact same material for an inclusive classroom without having to start all over again. It's a real game changer. The great news is educators aren't out there figuring this out all alone. Major organizations are stepping up. Groups like the Microsoft Educator Center, ISTE, and ASCD are providing comprehensive AI toolkits, co-pilot training, and things like the Study and Learn agent for interactive, scaffolded practice. They even have specialized AI coaches to help teachers safely and effectively integrate these practices into their workflow. So I want you to imagine two teachers for a second. Both care deeply about their students. Teacher A spends a grueling 3 hours grinding away, building slides completely from scratch late into the night. Teacher B uses an AI-assisted workflow, spends 15 minutes generating a solid first draft, and then spends their remaining time improving student activities, giving feedback, or honestly, simply getting some much-needed rest. Which teacher is truly better prepared for tomorrow? It completely shifts our perspective, doesn't it? We have to move away from measuring a teacher's preparation by how many hours they spent formatting text boxes, and instead look at the actual quality, the energy, and the readiness they bring into the room.
Because the goal here was never just to save a few clicks on a keyboard. The goal was to give teachers something far, far more valuable. By freeing educators from repetitive, manual preparation, they can finally focus on what actually matters, explaining complex concepts, building meaningful relationships, and actively supporting student growth.
At the end of the day, students rarely remember the animations in a PowerPoint. They rarely remember the font. They rarely remember how many slides were shown. But they do remember the teacher who inspired them. If AI can help teachers spend less time building slides and more time building learning experiences, then perhaps the most important thing ChatGPT creates is not a presentation. It's time.